welcome back to 2 Minute Drill. Today we got Johnny.
Big Cripe.
And Cole.
So we're gonna start off with high school today. For the first game of the week, was Westside Millie West. Thursday night game. Westside just took care of business, winning 34-12. Braylon Warren, who's a sophomore, had a huge game. Had 160 yards and a touchdown. And Kenyon Cotton also had 100 yards and a touchdown.
Kenyon
Cotton, 100 yards and a touchdown. And on the defensive end, Bryson Williams had 2 picks. It's just really big for Westside. And
Yeah, no
B.
surprise
Millie
there.
West,
Yeah. He's a really good athlete all around.
Yep.
And then the second game, we had Millard South versus Kearney. South won 52-3, and it was a top 5 matchup.
Yeah,
Top
Big,
crazy top 5 matchup.
That's
huge
crazy.
win for South. And then Chet Tamala, who I think is one of the best quarterbacks in Nebraska right now,
For sure.
almost his back-to-back 400-yard game, 25 yards off,
Absurdity.
4 touchdowns
4
at him.
tutties. I mean, there's nobody else right now putting up stats like he is in Nebraska. That's just a fact. That's not just a take. That's like you can go look at the stat sheets. Nobody's putting up stats like he is. Especially, I mean, to put those numbers, especially against a top 5 matchup. I
Yeah.
mean, and then blow him out by that much. I mean, because he was the
Almost 50
leading
points,
factor.
yeah.
of
I
that.
think Millard South is a top 50 team in the country right now.
Yeah, I think
Crazy.
They're not okay.
I
There's
don't know,
no
'cause
that's
Basha isn't even
Yeah,
like,
but that was such a close game.
top 70.
no.
I thought they
there's-
were top
They're
50.
not.
Basha's
I
top
thought
like 90.
Oh,
They're 80.
really?
They're not. There's
They're-
no
they're
way.
like
I mean,
80.
if you think about all those all the Texas
Yeah.
schools and all those,
Yeah.
There's probably 10 Texas teams that are
Yeah, there's-
better than them.
more.
And
Yeah.
then another stud out of that Millard South game, Amar Hill, 115 yards and a touchdown. And then Chase Lofton had an 81-yard touchdown.
Yeah,
I
no
was
surprise.
I was at the game. It was sweet. He like stepped back. It was just like a deep post.
really.
Caught it
Florida
at like
State commit.
caught it like a 50, and just nobody there.
Really?
And then Deshaun, I think it's Prince, Sean.
Yeah,
had
yeah, Sean.
He had a like 70-yard touchdown too.
Really?
Juked a couple people towards the end zone. And then on the
Yeah.
defensive end, Tegan Irvine, 14 tackles and 5
Mhm.
tackles.
5
for a
TFLs.
Those are about
That's crazy.
2 of the most athletic kids you can have in the receiving core, Sean and Chase Lofton.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
that's
then,
pretty nuts.
And then Marhill, or no, who's the one wide receiver?
Hmm?
Marion
Yeah.
Johnson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's really good.
Yeah. Moving on to college. Wait, is this that?
This is
No. That's old.
yeah.
Okay.
You got that.
Moving on to college, we're gonna not cover as many games this week because we don't have time to cover all like the. I mean, there was a couple of games this week, but we just don't have time to cover every single game. So, jumping right in, probably closest like the biggest scare of the week by far was Georgia almost getting upset by the Kentucky Wildcats. Final score was 13-12. They were down 9-3 at one point in the game, and it was just really bad show offensively for Georgia just compared to what they're usually doing. Luckily, pulled out the win with a field goal with a touchdown in the fourth quarter. But yeah, I mean it was pretty crazy. I mean, Carson Beck was projected like I think he was projected like 270 yards or like 250 yards, and he only had 160. Just to show us how that Georgia offense really did not perform.
Yeah, I think that Kentucky defense just came to show up. Just
Mhm.
knew that they were kind of already at an underdog. Everybody, I think, had Georgia to win, so they just came with like a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah,
you
chip on
could
the
say,
shoulder.
and like they're not a great team 1-on-1
Yeah.
before the game
No.
compared to Georgia, who was 2-0, number 2 in the country. Just showed up a really good fight. That's really good for them. Hoping they can
Mhm.
keep
And
that
then,
going.
Yeah, the one touchdown of the game was Branson Robinson off a 3-yard run. And that was the only touchdown of the game, really surprisingly. I mean, when you look at number 2 ranked now, Georgia, I mean, they're putting up way more bigger scores in a game, especially against unranked teams. Pretty crazy that was a 1-point game, to say the least.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Moving on, we had Boston College versus Missouri Tigers, Mizzou. Final score was 21-27 Mizzou. No surprise, Mizzou won, but I mean, Boston College really kept it tight whole game. I mean, it was pretty good performance from them. I mean, especially as an unranked team. I mean, they beat Florida State, and then now, yeah.
I forgot about the Florida State. What's
Yeah,
what's
they are
theirs?
pretty
oh my
solid
God.
team.
Are they
Number
top
7.
10?
Number
Florida
7.
State?
No,
Missouri. Yeah,
I think
was gonna say.
Missouri's gonna make a run in
Yeah.
the playoff.
Yeah,
I really like Brady Cook.
Yeah.
What do you have? A touchdown, 270 yards. That's
Yeah.
a big game on him. I think he's definitely a top 5 Heisman candidate for me. I think he's a pretty good player.
Yeah, that's a good team.
Yeah, Boston College's QB also had a really good stat line without the picks. He had 250 yards and 3 touchdowns, but he had 2 interceptions. Thomas Castellanos.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
3 touchdowns is big.
Mm-hmm.
Really keeping them in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, no field goals from them, but 2. I mean, Missouri beat them by 2 field goals. They had one. Yeah.
Cool. You
Move-
want to take it to NFL?
Yep. Okay. First game, Falcons upset the Eagles.
Yeah.
It was a close game all around. Cousins last drive he turned into Kirkio.
That was
He,
such a fun game to watch.
Yeah,
that
it
was a good
was.
game.
Yeah, he drove all the way down. What was it? 2 minutes, I think.
Yeah, under 2 minutes.
2 minute
I think.
drill.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think they was there at the 5, and Drake London routed up
Yeah.
Darius Slay to
Mm-hmm.
win the game. That was pretty cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then
Drake London, that little toe tap.
Yeah,
Oh
in the end
yeah,
zone.
that was pretty nuts. I don't think anybody. They did it with time to spit. They had like no time to get down the field. They like from the
They had
beginning of that
time.
drive, and they got down the field with a touchdown with time to spare, which
And-
was ridiculous.
And the Eagles always have one of the best defenses, like
Mhm. Yeah,
especially
for sure.
corners, like Darius Slay and Kirk was just dotting them
Well,
up.
yeah, and that's where like a lot of people had doubts of how big a contract like Kirk Cousins signed in his
No
age and not his
ACLs.
yeah.
he proved it right
and
there.
he
like-
well, I mean that you need a guy with that level of experience that he has when you go and do that 2-minute drill when you need a drive game when you
Everyone
drive on the
was-
field.
Everyone was worried about him because that first game wasn't a great showing.
Yeah, no, it
That
wasn't.
just proves that he's a vet. He knows
yeah,
what he's doing.
that's really just
They
shows
got a
like
good quarterback right there.
and you like it also just goes to show like there's so much young talent, but a lot of time people undervalue experience in the league. I mean, it's just it really goes to show like, and I'm glad for Kirk that he got a huge paycheck from the Falcons, and I'm glad that Falcons signed him because I think it'll be mutually good for both.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Falcons offense definitely got an upgrade with
Yeah.
that team. They
and
look good.
And
They look
Jalen
real
Hurts
good.
had a huge game. I'm surprised with his stat line, like how Eagles not come out of the game having almost
Saquon looks good
85
too.
yards and a touchdown rushing, and then almost
Yeah.
200 yards in the touchdown. Like that's just hard to do, and then end up losing the game.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's absolutely wild.
Tragic pick at the end from Jalen Hurts. That was
Yeah.
pretty nuts. I mean, you don't see him throw that bad of a ball too often, especially with just such a high level QB. But I think they just got to get together, rally. I still think they're definitely one of the best teams in the league. But,
Oh yeah, for sure.
but I mean, Falcons have really improved. And oh my gosh, I can't say enough about Marvin Harrison.
yeah. I had him in
ridiculous.
fantasy. It was huge.
2
this
touchdowns in the
Yeah.
first
That's
quarter.
big. Kyler
Yeah.
Murray looked so
130
good. He
yards,
looked-
4 receptions.
Kyler Murray looked like it was Oklahoma Heisman. Kyler
That
Murray
that
was
was that whole
moving around in the pocket, just throwing.
He had like
Absolute
370
lasers.
yards or something.
that game was ridiculous.
Not 370, 270. I
Not
think.
to I don't mean to move games like that, but I just had to
Yeah.
that game was. I'm gonna pull up his stat.
Yeah, the
line
Cardinals
quickly.
beat the
Yeah.
Rams 41.
Yeah, that was a blowout game. I mean, that game was just ridiculous.
Yeah, and Kyler, I've always liked Kyler. I think he can. I think he
They,
has always been one of the better players in the
Mhm.
league, one of the better quarterbacks. Just I don't think his line in the past couple of years and the weapons that he's
They
had.
looked great
has
this
led
week,
him,
though.
have led. I don't think his weapons have been there really until Marvin Harrison.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No,
So
I think a lot of people had doubts going into the season
Yeah.
about Kyler Murray, just with all the injuries and just not having a lot of experience in the last 2 years, like being able to play in a lot the last 2 years. And he was just throwing absurd balls. I mean, he was just scrambling out of the pocket and just throwing deep balls to Marvin Harrison like it was just crazy. I
Yeah.
mean, really fun game to watch. Sorry, I didn't mean to just quickly jump games right there, but I just had to say that was probably funnest quarter of the week to watch was first quarter of that Cardinals Rams game was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, on that game, the Rams line needs some work. They gave up six or seven sacks. That was tough. on
Can't
them.
do that and then expect to win.
No. The Rams looked real good last week against the Lions, but this week
Yeah.
they got to keep a streak going and tough it out. Next game, Chiefs Bengals. That was the game of the week, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Cam
probably.
Taylor Britt with that crazy, the Nebraska guy, crazy one-handed interception.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
like the pick of the year.
Yeah,
I think.
pick of the
That's
year.
catch of
People,
the year.
yeah.
Huge
They
catch.
the Chiefs are just getting by. I mean,
Mm-hmm. Just skating,
25 to
just-
26.
Yeah.
26-25, my bad.
The rest
and,
are just
And
on their side.
they beat the Ravens last week by a literal inches,
Yeah.
an inch.
Wild.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're just skating by, right? I mean, they're just
Yeah.
barely just.
but
barely,
those are two of the toughest teams. in the
True,
league.
true,
Like,
true. Yeah, you gotta give them credit where it's due.
Yeah,
Isaac
But-
Pacheco though out for the season with a
Yeah,
broken
that's
leg. That's gonna.
trash.
I
That's
thought it
gonna
was
come-
6 to 8 weeks. Is he out for the season?
Yeah, he broke his leg.
Oh wow.
Wait, are you?
Oh my
is that,
gosh.
Is that?
I thought it was
we
6
need
to
a
8
fact
weeks.
check. We need a fact check really quick. Yeah, Pacheco. Yeah.
Joe Burrow
think-
passed or threw the ball 36 times, completed 23.
Oh no.
260
He's got
yards and a
chance to come
touchdown.
Back. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was 6
yeah,
to 8 weeks.
I
Is that
was.
right?
I
It
didn't
says
know.
it says 4 games maybe, but then that was 2 days
Oh,
ago.
yeah, I don't
but-
think it's a clear answer yet.
No.
Yeah.
But
He's on IR.
Yeah.
So hopefully he gets better because
Mhm,
that's
yeah.
a big part of the Chiefs' offense.
Joe Burrow played great, like you said, Cole. I mean, really, really good all around. I mean,
Yeah.
not a lot of
Rashee
error.
Rice, 5
And
receptions,
Chiefs-
75
Mhm,
yards and a
yeah.
touchdown.
Yeah.
He
Good
looks
perf-
great.
Yeah, he does look great.
Hopefully, like
I
we
mean, with
said last
everything,
week.
yeah, with everything going on, I mean, it's just
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plays like he's got nothing on his shoulders.
yeah.
Yeah, Chiefs just signed actually Kareem Hunt to replace.
Did they?
Isaiah
Did they?
Pacheco. So I think that's
Oh,
gonna
wow.
be
Yeah,
That's
gonna be
gonna
really
fun to watch.
interesting.
That's like
gonna be
a
really-
it's like Ezekiel Elliott thing.
Yeah,
Like,
well, he
dude
was
could
on the
come
he was
in
on the
and-
Chiefs before.
Yeah, I know.
and
And
then
then those allegations
kicked
and
the
stuff. Like,
Lady, yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Next game, Baker Mayfield looks great.
I like
he looked.
Baker.
I
Beat
mean,
the Bucks 2016. He looks like a,
talk about a guy
top
with
10
doubt
quarterback in
around
the
him
league.
before that. I mean, he was
Yeah.
he looked incredible.
that's just a guy you want to see
Yeah.
succeed. He's
yeah,
a great dude.
almost out of the league, leading the team to playoffs
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
is
Oh yeah,
crazy.
and that was a I think a
Playoff
divisional
rematch.
Yeah.
rematch. Yep. Anyways, Goff threw the ball 55
Oh,
times,
my.
completed 34 passes. Amon-Ra, 11 receptions, 120 yards.
Yeah, that
He-
was
he
a
looked
big
great.
step up from the week before. He
Yeah.
had like 18 yards or
Yeah.
something. It
two
was
two catches.
Yeah.
something.
And then
was something-
Godwin, another big game with seven receptions, 115 yards and a touchdown. I had him in fantasy.
He
got
broke
me,
a
like,
he broke a big
24.
one, 40
Yeah.
40-yard reception
Yeah.
for a touchdown.
He got me
Yeah.
like 24 points or something in fantasy. It was big.
Yeah, that was a great game.
Mhm.
And then for fantasy, we're gonna do some boom and busts. And so for last week, the biggest boom I had was Alvin Kamara.
Oh, yeah.
Huge game. Like
Yeah.
Dude,
four
he looks like
touchdowns or
he's going to be
something.
the number one
Dude, the
running back
Saints
for
look-
fantasy.
Saints look so good.
Yeah, they
Mhm.
do.
They do look good. Out of the blue.
Yeah, Derek.
Yeah.
if he can, I mean,
Yeah.
No one
Derek
expected
Carr
them to
keeps
be
it
a
up,
playoff
they'll be
team. I mean,
Yeah.
pretty solid. And then my week 3 projected boom, I think is gonna be Alan Lazard of the Jets
That's a good.
against
That's a good pick.
Patriots on Thursday night. I think the Patriots secondary
Yeah.
will really focus towards Garrett Wilson and kind of leave the slack off of Alan Lazard and Mike Williams. So I think both of those two can either have a big game, and I think Aaron Rodgers is gonna be looking to their side a lot. So hopefully Lazard or Mike Williams can have a big game.
I would say my boom of last week. I mean, hard to match up a boom like John from last week. Like Johnny's like Alvin Kamara. I mean, definitely best player from last week, probably at least fantasy wise for sure. But I would say my boom from last week, like probably favorite to watch too, was just Marvin Harrison again. Like I mean that was just
Great
ridiculous.
first quarter. He was on pace to beat the fantasy record.
Yeah,
in the game.
in that
Really?
first quarter.
Did he catch another reception after the first quarter?
Maybe one. I think.
Yeah.
But it was it was just ridiculous. I mean, nobody. You couldn't believe what you were watching, and Kyler Murray's just running around, flying around, just throwing dots, just crazy.
He's looking so good.
But my boom for next week is J.K. Dobbins. I think he's been on a roll, and I think he's going to continue to just do really well.
Chargers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they play Steelers. I mean, which that'll be a tough match. I mean, I think
Steelers have one of the
they
best
have beast defenses. Yeah,
They always do.
They always do. But I think, I mean, coached really well. Obviously, really good organization there.
Yeah.
But I think J.K. Dobbins has just been on a roll. I just think he's continued. I think they're just going to feed him the ball. That's that's my hopes for him too.
My boom of the last week, Devon A-Chain.
Yeah.
Looks great. Last 2 weeks, he had 29 fantasy points.
Yeah.
He looks great.
Yeah.
Running the ball over the place.
Not much to say. I mean, he's just really good.
That's a guy you want to have.
Yeah.
I think, what was he, a 40 spot? 30,
Yeah,
40?
I don't think he was picked really high in the draft.
That's a great pick
Yeah,
if you got him.
If you get him.
Yeah.
Next week, I got CeeDee Lamb. I wouldn't say last week he struggled. He had 22 points, but like he broke off a 7-yard
Yeah.
reception. If that didn't happen,
That would have changed.
Yeah,
how his
but-
stuff would have looked. But
70-yard touchdown. My bad. I think he'll have 30+ points. He's gonna have a great game.
do you know who they play?
I have no idea. That's what I was just gonna ask.
They play the Ravens.
Ravens. That's a tough
They-
game.
That's gonna be-
I think he can do
Still,
it.
yeah.
Dak
Yeah.
turns it on. I think he can do
that's
it.
gonna be crazy.
I think they're due after getting beat by the Saints
After
like
getting
that.
that was an embarrassment of a
Yeah.
show.
Anyways, yeah, I think CeeDee Lamb's gonna have a great game, and their offense is gonna turn out.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder after that. I mean, that was you can't be as highly renowned as a team and organization and then
Supposed to
get
be
beat by
making the
that
playoffs.
much. Yeah,
Yeah.
you
And then
can't.
get
You
beat
cannot
by
do
a-
that.
Well, the Saints look like a playoff team, but consider it. As a
Yeah,
playoff team.
yeah. I what are Saints are 2-0. I mean, they look pretty good.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Well,
They're put together well.
Yep. Well,
yeah. On that note, I think it's time to wrap it up. Thanks for tuning in.
yeah.
Yep.
Have a
Thank
good
you
one.
guys.
Yeah, we'll see you later.
See you guys.
Yep.
That was good. That was like, let's see what the time was on that.
17.